Hey everyone, Steven here, and today I have an upgrade for my second rig. We are actually going to upgrade the desk, which isn't so much a desk as it actually is just a fold-out table that I typically use to shoot B-roll. At least I was, and then I use it now for this desk. So not officially a desk, but I've been using it as such. So I actually got the Flexispot EN1 right here. So this company actually reached out to me. They wanted to ship me a product. I reached back twice, never heard anything. So I actually bought this with my own money because I do like what I was seeing with the different options that they have. I went kind of middle of the road. This thing is $279 right now, but you have like a $20 off code that you can use with it. But they have a bunch of different options. I'll actually make sure that they have like a little list thing or a little picture that shows the differences between them, because part of this is the load that this can actually handle, because I think this can do like 154 pounds on top of it. Now, the prices range from like low 200s up to like 400, maybe even 500. Those have different options. I almost went with the $400 one because it has a drawer. This one does not, but it also had like a USB plug-in. So I was like, oh man, that'd be awesome where I could just do it right off of the desk instead of running it, whether it's off the PC to charge something or just utilizing some type of device to do that. So this here is the 30-inch one. This desk is 24 inches. So this is gonna change this up a bit. And I'm gonna scoot out of the way. Keep in mind, this is the second rig here, but with this, it's gonna come out another 6 inches. And I'm hoping, if you can see this, that looks horrible. We have a ton of cables everywhere. And so I wanna clean it up a little bit too. So starting with getting the desk in here and then hopefully putting some brackets on the bottom here where we can actually put the cords up so they're not just dangling, and organize this a little bit more. You can also see the Govee Glide, which was behind the monitor here, but it fell. And so now I actually have to use some different tape because I think it's really the material of these hexagon sound panels that I'm using. It just doesn't want to adhere to it. So I'm gonna use some more durable tape and actually get that put up with this as well. So I need to adjust that. I came into the room and it was literally just on the floor, kind of in these chunks, and I've just not had the time to touch it or mess with it because I knew the desk was coming in, so let's get it all done at the same time. So I think it's gonna look a lot cleaner with this. Mine has the options to do 4 different settings with it, just like my autonomous desk has. And they have another one. It is one of the like least expensive models where it's just the 2 controls, like up or down. I don't think you can program those like you can this one. But it shouldn't take long is the hope. I did get white. They have different color options too, which is awesome. But just like the autonomous desk, if I don't like that topper down the road, once you have the legs, like people ask a lot, like what's my wood desk topper? I bought that from Home Depot and it was more expensive. It was like 300 bucks and it's 6 feet long. And I actually found out about that because I watched a video from Random Frank P and he did that. And I was like, that's a good idea. So I actually got the same live edge wood one that he has. So if I don't like it down the road, I may switch it up, but I did want to stick with white because this is that black and white build that I've been talking about. And this is also where I review my different monitors, like the Scepter here, which is the C345B, I believe. This thing is amazing. This is an incredible monitor, but as you can see, I mean, it takes up a lot of space as well. 34-inch ultra wide with a 1000R curve. So I'm hoping the distance now, as it pushes this back a little bit, it makes my viewing angles on this a little bit better since I'm sitting back a little bit further. And then down the road, I want to get another Ergotron monitor arm for this. So I can even push it back just a little bit more with this and then clean everything up. But enough about the setup. Let's get this thing actually built. And then I'm gonna come back on, I'll have B-roll, I'll talk about the process of actually building this thing, and then a lot of the different features that it has, and then what I think so far of the product. So let's go ahead now and cut ahead to that. And like I said, I'll actually I'll do a time lapse of me building this thing, and then I'll let you guys know how long it actually took me to build it. All right, so all done here. It took 45 minutes to build and then another 15 to kind of swap out the desks here. With that, probably would have been a little bit shorter. I got a couple of the parts backwards when I was trying to look at it. Kind of just doing that typical guy thing where I'm like looking at it, I was like, I got it. And then I just start installing whatever, and then it'd be like, oh my God, it's backwards, read it. So with this, I also ended up getting this on the opposite side. So when it's laying down flat, the way I was looking at it, I was like, all right, that'll be on my right-hand side. Because it was on the left, but then, I don't know, I guess I thought it was supposed to be backwards, but anyways, it ended up on the left side. But I don't mind, because my regular autonomous is on the right side, but this actually frees up that side so I can keep my headset separate from this, so that's not a big deal. With this, it's wider, right? But it's not as long. So the distance here, it's interesting trying to find a better position, because I don't want it to obviously be too close to the door, because then it's a tighter space in here. Where the other one got closer to the door, this would actually protrude further from the wall. So that was something where I ended up scooting this over a little bit. I did get my Govee Glide back up. It's not exactly set where I want it. It's a little bit off, but the tape that I put on, it's heavy duty tape. So going to peel that off, it's gonna rip chunks of this stuff out. So it's like, all right, it's set, whatever, it looks fine enough. And it does cast a good glow on this. So I do like the white because it will actually reflect the light, the color from this a little bit. But with this, it's gonna also pick up scratches. So I've already noticed a couple spots where it's like, oh man, that's just, for whatever reason, it's got a little chip in it or something like that. Not a big deal, but that's the risk that you take with this, of course, being white. Now, I'm gonna be having B-roll pop up this whole time with this, showcasing what this looks like, different angles, what it looks like underneath, all these different things, instead of just B-roll the whole time, because it's a little bit harder to actually kind of fill that whole space with video while I'm trying to talk about certain things. But I need to find whatever I'm going to use to actually do cable organization underneath this. Looking at some different options. It's not organized right now, but I want something that's going to fit this in terms of the look, but also be functional. Looking at whether or not, too, do I actually drill it into this like I did with my other desk, my main desk, or do I do something where it's just going to stick to it? Just different options that I'm thinking about with this, but eventually I will get this all cleaned up. This is a good first step though. But extremely happy with the look. It wasn't incredibly hard to actually get set up. I will say they give you all of the hex keys and then they give you a wrench, but you're gonna need a screwdriver. I would recommend a drill so that you can actually, when you finally get to the part where you're attaching the legs to this, it just makes it easier to actually do. Other than that, the confusing part was when you're getting the middle bracket, it adjusts and you're getting it set up and it has a max length. And I was like, all right, do I set it to max length? Because it doesn't tell you. And I messed with it and I was like, max length is actually, when I had the box up, I was like, it's taller than that. So it's one of those things that you're going to, even though you get this stuff set up, because you get that set up and then you actually get the rod that runs with the motor that actually makes this go up and down. You get that set as well. You have to adjust this later to actually line it up to the pre-drilled screw holes that they have on this so that you can attach the legs to it. So that's one of those things when you start that process, if you get one of these, just be mindful of. Getting this set up, everything else is easy. I need to do a little bit of cable management for the cables that go to this, but other than that, this is gonna get really, really loud. But I have this at the lowest point here. So this is for sitting position. And I say loud, it doesn't get incredibly loud. Like I think my autonomous is way louder than this thing. That's the second position that I have. And then this would be my standing position, which I think we're gonna maybe even push stuff out of frame here on the camera, or we'll at least get close. How close are we gonna get? Pretty close. And then the last one, this is the highest that it'll go. This will for sure push everything out of frame. That's it. So that's as tall as it'll go. So it's 44.6, I'm assuming that's inches there. And then we'll come back down. But I like how quiet it is. Like I said, my autonomous is actually louder than this. The other ones that they have, I mentioned that they actually have USB stuff. They have a couple different options for that, which would have been nice, but I'm not gonna pay the extra, I think 130 to 150 more just for that option. I think I'll be okay, but like I mentioned, maybe down the road, that's something that I'll actually look at. Hopefully prices on all this stuff don't skyrocket like everything else. The different tops that you can get with it. I almost went with the black top, white legs, and then I looked at potentially doing the wood finish on this as well. Some of the other ones have grommets. I guess that's one thing I wish this did have, was maybe a grommet over here we could run some of these cables through. Of course, you could always drill your own, and I have done that. I did that on my first autonomous desk. Side note about that, make sure you know where the middle stuff is. Because I drilled mine, it was so close to that, I had a hard time running the cable. So you do have to check underneath before you just start doing your drills, right? But you could actually install grommets yourself, so not a big deal with that if you wanted that. I don't think I'm gonna do it with this, I'm just gonna let the cables be. I like the extra width with condensing all of this stuff, but it still gives me enough room to put everything, but also my sitting distance is so much better than that other one, the 24 inches. And I even think they have some that are 24 inches. That's just too close. With this, it just feels more natural to sit back a little bit. And I get to soak up, especially when you have a bigger monitor like this, I actually get to see everything with it, where I'm pretty close with that 24 inches with that other desk there. So I'm happy with this. I think the build quality is great. One of the things with this too, and how they line this up, I've seen some other desks and they mention it in their advertisement, with this being like the way they actually get the two pieces together and make sure it's a solid, clean look. And I was like, I don't really notice that with most of these, right? Like I didn't notice it with autonomous. And then I start looking around a little bit, and there's like, even in their advertisement for the desk, you can see it in the images where you would see a line down the desk, and it's like a top wood, supposed to be wood grain finish to it, right? Of course, it's not real wood, but that's the look that they go with. And you can see the line that goes down the middle. I was like, that's not good. So this seems solid with this. It's not as heavy duty, because I think the autonomous was like, man, maybe even 200-300 pounds. I think I could like lay on top of it. It's not as heavy duty as that, but it still feels incredibly solid with this. Obviously plenty to hold all of your stuff, your computer and desk and all that other stuff. Monitors, whatever else you're gonna put on the desks. But with this, good buy. I think the price point, it's way cheaper than autonomous. They've just been increasing their prices like crazy, which is why I wanted to go with a different brand. And I am happy that I went with this brand. So I think the price point is good. Look for those discounts. You have different options with this. One thing to note here, when they ship this, they ship it in 2 separate shipments. And it seems like, because I got the top first and then I had to get a hold of them, I was like, I'm missing something. And they shipped that from California. I got a hold of somebody at the company. They're very, very quick to respond via Amazon. And they're like, okay, we had some delays in the shipment and hey, it's on its way. Here's the tracking for it. With that one, it was coming from the East Coast. So it seems like they're shipping these parts potentially from different areas. So if you get the top first, just contact them. Be like, hey, I need the information on the other one, whether it's the tracking or hopefully they didn't actually forget to. Because the legs came like the next day or 2 days later, sorry, because they didn't come on Sunday. FedEx doesn't do anything on Sundays. So it was a quick turnaround. It wasn't like they hadn't shipped it. It was just for whatever reason. I'm thinking it's because we had storms roll through and they got a bunch of snow further east than me. Maybe that was something that actually had to do with whatever was causing the issue. But just in case that happens. So I'm happy. I like the price point. I like the aesthetics. I like the different options here versus just the up and down where you could actually set it that way. This is just an easier thing for me. Like I said, different options with the tops here. It feels solid all the way around. Different models with different features if you need those things. And it just looks great. I like it. The autonomous one, when I paid for that, I double checked. It was $370. Very similar to everything that you see here, except it was black. If I was to buy that same thing now, it'd be about $500. With this discount, this was, I think, $260. Like basically half the cost with this. So that's something, if you are looking at autonomous, to potentially think about. There are other options that are really, really good out there. I've looked at some other ones. I mean, they have a lot of different options, to be honest. It's just which one is going to be the right fit. So I'm happy that they reached out to me. Kind of bummed that I didn't get a free sample for it, but I think it is worth my money that I spent on this. So that's going to be it for this one. If you guys have any questions on this, let me know in the comment section. I will have a link for this in the description, as well as a couple of their other models, just in case you actually want to check those out as well. If you guys like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.